2 Peter 1 verse 5. And beside this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge. As I said before, even if it doesn't work out, because you're working out, too, this intellect is part of you. In heaven, it belongs to you. Though it was born in this world, but its structure, its ideas, its solutions, created the AI that belongs to Pastor Wind in heaven. In fact, that's the whole picture. So, that explains why the Bible is written the way it is? And why did the search for the Zion message turn into what it is now? Why? For you to see more and more greatness. Getting to know God better is like math, you have to work your way up to PhD, graduate level, to catch up with this era. I don't mean mathematicians of 500 years ago, I mean mathematicians of today, so, you keep going up. Clearly, we've caught up with the times, because we have not deviated even for a day. It has proved that we have reached the limit. The limit of what can be achieved is God's faith-based thinking. Faith-based thinking, the way we conceive, think, learn, and study. Remember, it's not something you're born with, we were born without it. Only when you believe in the Lord do you begin to conceive it. It started when you were born again, and then, for the sake of faith, you start thinking, how am I going to live? As I mentioned when I shared my memories of planting grace. How am I supposed to live? How do I solve the problems of life? At that time, it was like a child using his brain. Some people are like idiots who don't care about anything after they are born. Others struggle to survive and never give up their faith easily, will only think about the need to carry on, how to choose. Go through life in this pattern. As you can see, my wisdom is becoming more like God's. My wisdom is to live in heaven. To communicate with God. This is what I call faith-based thinking. It's not just a receiver, you hear a piece of information, you copy it. Instead, you can talk to the message, that is, speak to God as a friend. Instead of God giving you 4 words, keep away from strangers, you transcribe them. Like I said, you're just copying English, but the fact that you can speak to the wisdom of God, it only requires cultivating it from your initial life encounters and beliefs. Now, as you can see with your own eyes, the sharing methods and topics of Zion message. It can't be that God says something, and I copy it, it's more of a thinking conversation. The people understood that the message of Zion was indeed from God, and from the mouth of Pastor Wind, right? I came up with it. I can say this because I have reached this stage of intelligence. It is this wisdom that will enable me to go to heaven. If you do not have any faith thinking, it is very dangerous. When you know how to think like this, you knew that the fundamental church was an outsider. They don't think in that way at all. At least you're going to jump on it and try to get involved in church ministry, but they wouldn't even listen to my message. Imagine how crazy that is. Even if they go to heaven, like a goldfish with a 3-second memory, it's all over. Because they don't use their brains at all, God expects people to develop a mentality and intellect after being born again. They didn't at all. That's why being born again often makes faith so difficult, put you in an environment all of a sudden, to turn your old life upside down. You have to live as a Christian, immediately. There will be a lot of entanglements and a series of attacks. It's the same as God giving you homework and exercises, drives you to plan every month, every year. This is rebirth. Back then, the 12 disciples faced the same situation. No good days have come since they followed the Lord Jesus. What they need to do is to build a belief mindset after rebirth, and then to write the New Testament. Try to remember where the New Testament books came from. Instead of the Lord Jesus saying something, the 12 disciples silently wrote, but their own letters, thought it up by its own free will, wrote it down. For example, Timothy, how are you? You can add some wine to your food because your stomach is upset. Do you understand? The belief of the 12 disciples created the entire New Testament. It is precious and vital to the Lord Jesus. Except Revelation, of course, because it's all about visions, but the other 26 books of the Bible, all Matthew, Mark, Luke, etc., intuitively write about faith based on their thinking after receiving the faith. Then it became the New Testament. What is the solution? Why is this a letter from heaven or a golden rule? As I said, the whole New Testament is a product of faith-based thinking. I'm detailing how it came about. Only Zion lasted 2,000 years later, we become another richer demonstration. 2 Peter 1 verse 5. And beside this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge.
信仰思維就所有我哋構思、考究、學習嘅思維方式，唔係與生俱來嘅。直至你信得住，你可以引入佢。我呢個智慧係活喺天上，係可以同神溝通嘅。因為信仰思維唔係淨係一個 receiver 聽到一個信息你 copy 佢，係你可以對話一個信息。咁你變咗咪可以即係同神好似朋友咁對話咯。
Started out with a dream inside, gotta keep growing and reaching new heights. Through our faith, we find our way, having deep conversations with God every day. Millennials, we're not just kids lost in time, we're searching for truth. We're on the grind, seeking wisdom, making our mark, changing the world with love in our hearts.
重生就突然間好似你喺一個環境，突然間將你之前嘅生活打亂晒，以一個基督徒身份去活落去。12門徒咪就係咁樣咯，係咪？跟咗主耶穌就真係冇日好過。咁嗰個咪就係重生裏面嘅信仰思維啦。咁因為佢哋嘅信仰思維而寫新約㗎嘛。